Hey guys, welcome to our Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
Our good friends wanted to get together for a Thanksgiving meal, but since we are all on different rotations, we had to pick a day that we were all available, which is harder than it sounds. So we're close enough to Thanksgiving to call this our Friendsgiving. So these are our friends, I and Rachita, and this is Jaden indulging in the snacks that Rachita brought him before dinner, as per usual. This is what Jaden does when we cook. He snacks.
He eats, he snacks, he listens, he talks.
Yeah. So since the four of us eat largely plant-based, our Thanksgiving menu looked a little different. So for dinner, we had a cauliflower, mushroom, and kale pasta bake on the menu, and then an apple crumble for dessert with the guest appearance of Jaden's mom's yummy cranberry bread. So this recipe called for 1 potato and 1 head of cauliflower to be chopped and then boiled as a base for the pasta. It kind of combines to make this really yummy creamy base. So this is us adding the cauliflower and potato into some boiling water. Now I is making a slurry of sorts with some olive oil, some flour, and some vegetable stock. Then we add the slurry to the boiled vegetables and add mustard and seasonings and nutritional yeast. So creamy, so good.
All right.
Add the pasta into the leftover boiled water that we used for the vegetables. And in a separate pan, we have some mushrooms, olive oil, and we'll add kale to that. Then we toss it all together, top it with breadcrumbs, and put it in the oven. So this is the final product. There's our pasta bake on the left. Super yummy, creamy, filled with flavor and filled with veggies. And then on the right, we just roasted some cauliflower to put on top. So now that dinner is done and our apple crumble dessert is in the oven, just some sliced apples and oats and maple syrup, we can now sit down and enjoy dinner together. And here's a bit more about our friends.
I wants to be a neurologist,
Yes.
so we will rely on her for all of
So
our
she's
neurology
eating
consults
tiny little
later.
cauliflower brains. Just kidding.
Yes. And Rachita is thinking she wants to go into internal medicine, right?
Yes, but not sure yet.
Not sure.
Look at these steaming beauties.
Beautiful.
They're beautiful.
I want you guys all to be in this because I'm going to ask you guys something. So we were all just talking about step 1, and I almost started crying because it was
PTSD.
such a sad time in my life studying for step 1. It was very hard.
It was a
But-
tough time for us all.
Yeah, but we were all talking about kind of how we got through it.
It's delicious. Sorry, we're also trying our first bites of
Yeah.
this food.
So-
Wow.
So what would be? We can start with. We start with Sable. What would be your one piece of advice that you would give a medical student watching this on how to make it through studying for step 1?
Number 1 piece of advice.
Okay. How about we make this so it's like one piece of like academic advice to do well, and then second
Balance
piece of
advice.
like how to not go crazy and lose your mind while studying
Okay.
for step 1.
My piece of academic advice is questions are king. My piece of other advice, balance advice, is if you feel like you are going to explode, stop studying. That saved me.
All right. So what is your advice?
Cheetah's advice.
Let's see. Balance-wise, take time out for yourself every single day. You have to take a mental health break. Otherwise, burnout is definitely real. Otherwise, again, questions I think are by far the most important thing to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't focus too much on the ones you get wrong. Just get question exposure.
And what do you have to say?
Okay, my academic advice is always ask why instead of what to a question.
Ooh.
Don't just try to memorize the answer. Really ask yourself why. Why did you get that question wrong? Like memorizing just doesn't
That
work
would stick
sometimes.
better.
Just the why. Understanding
yeah.
why can really go a long way.
And that stuff actually stays with you even after you dump it all into the test.
Why you got the question wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Easier
that's the
said
why.
than done. I still
Yes.
do not know why I got most of the questions wrong that I did. But
What's
let's
your
see.
advice?
My academic advice
Oh,
would
so
also
good.
be questions are king. So now you've heard that from how many of
4.
us? 4 of us. I actually regretted the amount of time I spent on Anki because in the end, Anki ultimately wasted my time because I was just reading flashcards and I had so many cards to get through every day that I wasn't really internalizing or memorizing the information.
Yeah.
So I would say it would have just been better for me to spend that time doing questions and exposing myself to different types of clinical vignettes.
Yeah.
And then my non-academic advice was you gotta get away from the screen. Just standing up and walking outside of your room to like a different room of the house is enough, like for like short breaks during the day, but you need to take like at least a day each week to like go far away from wherever it is that you're studying and get out in nature, because nature can be super rejuvenating.
Overall, a super successful Friendsgiving, a yummy, healthy meal. As you can see, Jaden was very satisfied. He had to lay on the ground to digest his meal. But super fun hanging out together, and we hope you guys enjoyed following along.